season has been brought to you by Radisson Red, Johannesburg, Rosebank. Style you can bank on. Great day, everyone. Ed Dudley, Durham, North Carolina. It is absolutely a beautiful day today because I get to spend some time with my, as you guys have known, my only girlfriend. Only girlfriend. I stress only girlfriend. The one and only, the Miss Beautiful herself, Charmaine Subermoney. How are you today, Charmaine?
I'm always fabulous, Zuluette. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I have no complaints. It's getting a little cold here, but that's a whole nother conversation. I'm excited about our guest today because I've been listening to his music for a while, and one of his songs is my theme music. And I have a feeling after the show today, Charmaine might collect another boyfriend here in the States. Charmaine, why are you smiling?
I'm smiling because Aloe Blacc was my boyfriend before I even met you, Zuluette. I connected with his
so
music.
you claimed him already. You gave the name away. So let's bring the one and only, the man himself, Mr. Aloe Blacc. How are you today, sir?
He ran
Well,
away.
I am very happy. Thank you so much for having me on your program.
glad
Aloe,
to have you.
It's nice to be here. Thank you so
it's
much.
an absolute pleasure to actually have you in the Ubuntu house. So grateful you could make it. I have to share this though. When I told Ed we're getting Aloe Blacc on the show, he goes, "Which Aloe Blacc?" And I go, "There's only one."
I I said that because
I had
I
to
couldn't
drop it.
believe. I had to say that because I couldn't believe Charmaine actually pulled it off. So yes,
No, he's smart, creative, talented, humbled. He didn't even ask me how many followers we had. It was like, okay, this is my people. Find me time and I'll be there. So, Aloe, thank you. Thank you for being true to who you are. Because I mean, your music speaks to social justice, kindness, humility, and that's exactly what you demonstrated through our interaction. Lots of love and blessings to you. But before we go into your music, I want to know you weren't born Aloe Blacc, right? So how did that
No.
come about?
Well, back in high school, I grew up listening to a lot of hip hop music, and all of my very favorite hip hop artists had a name that they chose to represent the style that they presented as an artist. And I was a big fan of the Zulu Nation hip hop family, and within there's the Native Tongue family, and that was Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Black Sheep. And one of my favorite MCs was Q-Tip, and his name was representing that his lyrics would clean out your ears. I thought my lyrics were smooth like lotion, so I chose Aloe.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
first of all, you just took me
But you're
back so much, like to like my youth, and like we talked off stage, the golden age of hip hop, talking about the Zulu Nation and Q-Tip, Tribe Talk, Quest, and all those guys. Absolutely love it, and it spawned so many amazing artists after
Absolutely.
that, such as yourself. But I would love for you to just share a little bit about, for those who don't know who you are, just share a little bit about who you are, what's inspired you to actually go into music. Because I do see that you went to, I think it was USC.
Yeah, so as a youngster, I fell in love with hip hop. Kids on the block were breakdancing. My dad was in the Marine Corps, and on base, the youth in the neighborhood would take cardboard out onto the sidewalk and break dance. So I thought I'd join them. And I fell in love with the music. And then I started writing lyrics. One of my very first hip hop albums was LL Cool J's Bigger and Deffer. Um, and I started listening and reciting and mimicking LL Cool J, but then developing my own style over time. Um, my parents, being immigrants from Panama, have always been very strict about academics, performance, and education. So I did really well in grade school and graduated with honors. Then went to university, graduated with honors, and then went into corporate America. And it was there as I was doing my duty as a good son, getting a job after college. I was also making music on the side as my hobby, and I decided that you know I didn't decide. The company decided for me. They laid me off, and I got a chance to focus on music full time, and I've never had to look back.
So a
Ah,
real
that's
real quick
amazing.
question. One quick question, because you talked about LL Cool J. Is that a Kango on your head?
This is not a Kangol. I do
Okay.
have Kangol, but
Okay.
this is just a regular flat cap.
Go ahead, Charmaine.
Thanks, Ed. Um, Hello. Saying that you were actually laid off, right? And speak to us. Give us the backstory about I Need a Dollar as to how did that come about? Was it as a result of you being laid off work?
Yeah, I mean, it certainly was. So I worked for 4 summers as an intern during college, and then I walked into the job for 2 years after I graduated. And when I was laid off, I ended up living in a home with some musicians. I was interested in dabbling in music for a little bit. Then I would go back to corporate America, get another job, or maybe go back to academia and get a master's or a PhD. But as I'm living in this home with these musicians, they're playing live music, but they're also playing records, and all of the stuff that I'm hearing is inspiring me. Um, and one of the records that they were playing was field recordings. I think they were Alan Lomax field recordings of chain gang workers and folk singers, and it inspired me to write my own folk song or my own chain gang song, and that's what I Need a Dollar was. Uh, Taking my circumstances, right, being laid off and um, engaging this new life, and I put it into lyrics in that way. And then it wasn't an immediate written song. It was sort of a chant, you know, an extemporaneous kind of thing that I would come up with different verses at different times. But then a few years later, when I got into the studio with the producers out in New York, we were jamming on some music, a soul vibe, and I thought, maybe I'm just gonna throw these lyrics on top. Let's see what happens. And it felt really good, and it worked out.
It's actually a beautiful song, though, and it's very relatable to many people, especially from the country I come from, South Africa, because our unemployment rate is it's up 60%, right? And
Mm.
just your music, Aloe, it's so intentional, so relatable, and it is smooth. So you true to your name, Aloe Blacc. Sorry, I'm a bit playful at times, so don't take me too seriously. You're allowed to be lighthearted. So yeah, so and I have to be honest, your music also helped me get out of dark spaces. So I know you write music anchored on the concept aim.
Yes.
Just speak a little bit about that. And
Aim
because yeah,
aim is the theme that have distilled my music down to, rather than a specific genre, because I've made music in all different genres. I feel like what I do with my music is approach this theme of affirmation, inspiration, and motivation. Um, a song like uh, "The Man" is self motivation. A song like "I Need a Dollar" is affirmation. It's that hope and dream that you're going to get to the next stage, that you're going to be able to overcome your adversity. And a song like "Wake Me Up" is inspiration. You know, and
absolutely.
and I want to use my songs in that way. I think when I go do performances, I have people from 8 years old to 80 years old in the audience, and I want to be able to have songs that are approachable for all generations, and for time in memoriam, right? So um, I make all kinds of music and all kinds of art. What makes it out to the world ultimately is curated with this in mind.
And you have succeeded with that, actually. It is beautiful. Like your music is incredible. It,
Thank you.
you
You're a
have,
throw. You're a throwback, Aloe, to another time when it was just that smooth music coming through the airwaves, and I hear it in your voice. I hear it in all the music that we could drop you in any generation, and the music would make us move and dance. That could drop you into the 80s, we're dancing. Would drop you in that 70s, drop you in that 60s, and we still jam into your music. It's absolute music. So it tells me that you've been inspired from some of those old singers like Donny Hathaway and things like that. What were some of your early inspirations for music and what you listened to
You know, I grew
early?
up listening to a lot of different styles of music. My parents, being from Panama, had a collection of um, Caribbean and Central American, South American music. So it was anything from salsa to merengue and soca, reggae, calypso. Um, and then they had the soul music, Barry White and Gladys Knight and the Pips and the old Jackson Fives, Motown Records, the Marvin Gaye's. But then they also had my mom would play the pop radio station, so you know, heard everything from Rod Stewart to the Pointer Sisters and Madonna and stuff. Um, I didn't get into singing until much later in life, and what inspired me to sing was the singer-songwriters like Bill Withers, like Donny Hathaway, like Joni Mitchell and James Taylor, Nina Simone. The way that they were able to construct words and evoke emotion really impressed me, and I wanted to be able to do that outside of just writing rhymes and doing hip hop.
I mean, it spoke, thank you for that. It spoke about dancing, but your music also heals, inspires. So I am of the view that you have helped millions of people across the world with just your music and your inspiration. So for that, thank you. So Ella, my first boyfriend in the US, I know Maya Jupiter. I know you're listening. My boyfriend from a music perspective. He didn't know me until today, but yeah, Maya Jupiter is his wife, actually. You should know
Mhm.
this, Ed. So we have the standing joke that Ed is my boyfriend and he's Zulu Ed. Being Zulu, he can actually have multiple wives. I know his wife Florida very well, so it's just a teasing concept
Wow.
that we got going. Um, hello. Oh, I love calling your name over and over again. You do a lot. Stop it, Ed. Stop it. Um, you do a lot of social work and work with NPOs and things of that sort, right?
Yeah.
Why the focus, and how do you want to change the narrative for social justice or nonprofits?
Okay.
Speak to
So
us a little bit about that.
I have this tremendous opportunity to use my voice for positive social transformation. I have a megaphone that reaches the world, and I recognize that there's a responsibility that comes with that. There's an obligation that comes with that, and there's a history of Black artists who have used their popularity, celebrity, and access, influence to create, you know, a better tomorrow for for all of humanity, the movement of civil rights. One of my mentors is the late great Harry Belafonte, and I learned so much from him in the work that he had done and continued to do up until his demise, um, in terms of how to use my voice in writing songs, presenting songs, engaging with the public servants and leadership within governments. Um, and I feel like, you know, we all have a responsibility to show up in community in a certain way with our best talents. That's what makes society work. And so my goal ultimately is to is to do that. And I've found many organizations that are very worthy of my time, and they're pushing for the right things in the world. You know, um, there's my relationship with Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. I just released a song with them called "Never Let You Down" because right now they're doing a campaign, and their campaign is about change makers, right? Finding folks who and game changers, finding folks who can take their time to mentor a young African American boy or girl in the community, um, so that they can first just have a friend, but second, have a guide in life.
Absolutely.
Um, working with the in within it's a loose confederation of different organizations around criminal justice reform, and police reform in the United States. Of course, in the wake of the murder of George Floyd by the police in Minneapolis, I was awakened again to the scourge of police violence, and the question of what can we do to actually change this kept nagging at me. And one of my very close friends, Brandon Paradise, he's a law professor at Rutgers University, mentioned to me a very little known statute, not statute, but practice. It's a precedent from the Supreme Court called qualified immunity, the doctrine of qualified immunity, which ultimately qualifies state and federal actors to be agents, to be immune from responsibility. And I thought that sounds like something that needs to change. This is
Absolutely.
potentially what creates a culture of God complex within um, authority figures and systems of authority. So I've been working hard with reform activists at educating the population about how these kind of things change. You know, it takes education, and it takes legislation, it takes voting, and we've working together as a unit with focus and intention.
Yeah, I love
Thank you
that.
for your intentionality. Sorry, Ed, I just want to
No, you
close
got it.
out this comment for me quickly. When Ed and I met, actually, we met at the time George Floyd was actually, we haven't met physically, Ed and I, yet. It was George Floyd, the time of his death. He put out a video that I saw on LinkedIn. And all I wanted to do was give this man a big hug and just say, "You're not alone. We're here. We can actually help." And that's how we managed to build this relationship and try and help change the narrative of what's actually happening out there and make all of us the awareness that we're all human and we all should be treated with dignity. Exactly what you're actually doing. And that's what we actually champion. So it's just weird that you say George Floyd, Changemakers game, and the three of us sitting here actually having heart and wanting to do what little we can to make a difference in this world. So thank you, Aloe. You're not just talented, good looking, because I actually mean that, creative, giving time. Because let's be honest, most celebrities are so up in the air. They've actually don't understand what's actually happening at the ground level or too high up there to even bother. So you're a rare commodity, or if I can
Yeah.
actually call you a commodity, but a rare human being. So just thank you.
So
Okay.
and I
Sorry,
want
Ed.
to I
Over
want
to
to
you.
echo, I want to echo what she said and say thank you. Um, Thank you for using your platform in your voice, especially for social change. And Charmaine echoed, um, about the George Floyd um, when that happened. Um, I think it shook the foundation of us here in the United States. I don't do videos, Aloe, but I was pressed to put a video out on social media that actually went viral, just literally saying, look, we need to do more, especially calling on individuals that didn't look like us. We need your support. And that's like Charmaine said, we met, but it shook something in me to do more as well. So, but using your platform and your voice. If we don't say anything else on this platform, or we never meet you again or talk to you again, saying that you actually using your talents for change tells me everything I need about you. So thank you for that. So since we
And
are
speak
talking,
for yourself.
we'll leave that alone. So here she goes. I told you, you never know what we're going to get from Charmaine.
I'm,
But I would,
no,
we're going to stop Charmaine. So we were on one podcast, and Charmaine said she's going to do more listening than talking. And I said, Charmaine, that's not possible. That's not what you do. You're going to talk on every single time we get on here. You're going to make sure that your voice is heard. So for right now, we're going to have you. So one of the things that I enjoyed um, is your wake me up collaboration. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that came to be?
Yeah, so when I Need a Dollar was my first hit, it made so many people aware of my artistry, and Avicii, Tim Bergling, rest in peace, was working on his next album and was very interested in recording with me because he wanted a soul vocalist to record with. One of his first big hits was a song, well, one of his early big hits was a song where he had sampled, I believe, Etta James. And so um, we got in the studio and we're working on a few different songs. And in order to finish them up, we scheduled another studio date. But he'd accidentally double booked, and in that double booking, he was working with a guitarist named Mike Einziger, an artist from a band called Incubus. And Mike said, you know, it's all good. Have Aloe come over and we'll all work on a song together. And when I arrived with this concept of lyrics that I felt were really strong in order to create a song, and that was the lyrics to Wake Me Up. And they had been preparing a chord progression on the guitar. So they played the chord progression, and I just looked at the lyrics and I started singing these words, and it really, really felt right. So we recorded an acoustic version that night, and Tim took the acoustic version and added all of the dance music instrumentation to it to turn it into a big EDM pop song. Had no idea what would happen, just knew that I felt good about the lyrics that I was presenting and the 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 song as it was as an acoustic form. Very, very grateful for the way it turned out over time.
that song was incredible, actually. In 12th of October 2013, I had a fashion show, and my outro was that song, and everybody was just blown away. So thank you. And that was a very special, no, it was very special fashion show in memory of my aunt that was actually killed by GBV. So you were there in spirit, and your song played out. And some people only heard it at the fashion show. So thank you, Aloe. I mean, your work, your artistry just doesn't just, it's not, it's meaningful actually. It's not like you have music and then you have like music where it
Mm.
speaks to your heart, your soul, there's a connection. And that's what you actually bring. And you bring healing. And that's a fact for me. So thank you for what you actually do. Um, if you weren't a musician, Ella, what would you be? Besides a neuroscientist, I read about that, and a corporate executive.
I mean, I did want to be a neuroscientist. Now I am a biotech founder. If I wasn't a musician, probably a motivational speaker, but I feel like that's probably really close to music already. I feel like I'm
Mm,
doing that with my music. Um, it's uh it's a something that I feel is it would come natural, and
okay.
um, outside of being on a stage talking to people, I really enjoy so many different things, so many different um, types of um, creative activity, but also scientifically creative activity. So I always thought if I went back to school, it would be probably computer science, computer engineering.
Hmm. Okay. Speak a little bit about your biotech project that you're currently busy with.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have the career that I have that has afforded me the opportunity to sponsor some really meaningful research. I was, top of 2022, vaccinated, boosted, and still came down with COVID. Luckily, because of the vaccines, I wasn't in the hospital, but I thought, why not find a preventative solution, something that would prevent rather than just boost immune response. And I ended up doing a Google search and found these amazing professors at the University of Houston, Dr. Bingwo and Dr. Gomika Urugama-Soria, who had developed a molecule that could block SARS-CoV-2 from entering cells. And if it blocks the virus from entering your cells, then the virus cannot replicate. Ultimately, what
Hmm.
happens is it gets flushed out of your system, it gets destroyed by your immune T cells, or it degrades. And I thought, this is perfect. Why aim at a moving target when you can just put a fence up to block it? And you know, they created this amazing solution. They needed some help with going the next stage of research, and I helped to sponsor it, and it was successful. So because of that, we need to continue on with research and see how far we can get to prove that this will work in humans. And that is why I had to start a company, because it doesn't work from a philanthropic standpoint. You have to have a commercial, you have to have a
Interest.
commercial strategy for investors, for
Hmm.
government entities, for regulators. They all want to see your commercial strategy so that they know it's a sustainable solution that will have legs and will be able to work for um, the world.
How's that journey been?
That's
Yeah, from musician, and all the other stuff to like biotech, and
It's a
how's that transition?
significant learning curve. It's very, very dense. There's lots of science to learn, but then there's lots of uh, business to learn. And then there's lots of, in order to get funding, you can take money from venture capital, which will require offering a piece of the equity of the company, or you can get what they call non-dilutive funding, which is free money from the government, grants, but the free part comes with uh, an expenditure of a lot of time.
conditions.
You have to do a lot of work to write the grants. You have to do a lot of work to maintain compliance with your grant agreement or contract.
Yep.
So this has been big, big learning curve, and I'm excited for it though. I enjoy learning and I enjoy the challenge. I also know what is on the other side of this. If we can prove that it actually works in humans, it is, again, it's game-changing technology that will uh, transform our relationship to viruses and multiple other indications. At first, it started with COVID, and then it has expanded to a platform where we're working in a novel class of molecules called peptoids, which are similar to peptides but have a very unique character profile. And the characteristics of this class of molecule make them a much better profile for medicinal candidates. Um, and we are looking at indications around cancer, longevity, sepsis, COVID, and SARS, pan-SARS, and pan-viral. So, and I think that there are probably multiple other indications. These are just the ones that we've identified at the moment.
And so I can tell your passion around this because your whole energy just went up a notch when you started talking about your work in that arena. So that's absolutely beautiful, as well. Charmaine, because I know you're sitting on the edge of your seat, you want to say something.
Oh, thanks, Ed, for
You're
giving me
welcome.
permission to open my mouth.
You're welcome.
So, hello. He's so serious. This is just banter that goes back and forth, Aloe. We're not fighting, I promise. Um, It's actually fascinating, the work that you're actually doing. I'm just trying to understand, though, from the big corporates, especially the pharmacies, how are they taking it? Because this could potentially drain their profitability. Um,
Yeah, that's one of the
I
things
mean,
I
that's
thought
a
of
reality,
first.
right? It's
The
corporate
first thing
greed, yeah?
yeah, you wanna defend your company, and you wanna be able to find ways that will be amenable to the big players in the system. I think that
Mm-hmm.
this is more money for the system. I think that
That is it.
I don't wanna cannibalize any of their income. I think all of the solutions that are available for every indication that's out there is important, um, and we're just offering another potential solution. And so,
Okay.
um, my thought is, the ways you work with big pharma is you make sure that in the rich countries, they can dictate pricing, and in the poor countries, they can't. So we'll make sure that, this medicine is available to folks who cannot afford it. Um, and and if we are licensed to or purchased by a large company, we would obviously contract a duty to perform. They can't just buy it and put it on the shelf. Um, but other than that, I'd probably stay away from engaging with them, and and also stay away from disparaging their income. uh, Make sure that
Sure.
they can continue to make money.
Okay. Well, thank you for that clarification. I mean, it's fascinating. I mean, as a musician wanting to be a neuroscientist, still living this out slightly in a way as to where you heading towards. It's just this. Have you always been intentional with where you go, or is it luck?
Wow. I mean, this discovery was luck. I was not expecting to find. I had this idea about, a preventative measure, a prophylactic measure for COVID. I wasn't expecting to find it. And so
Okay.
perhaps there's some luck there. Um,
I don't think it's luck, actually.
I think with uh, with everything that I do, I always want to engage if I know I can be helpful. And if I don't think that I will have a significant impact, I generally um, measure my involvement, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Um, and so, in with regard to biotech, I felt like I had enough money to do a certain amount of research, and we did it,
Okay.
and it worked. With music, I feel like I could release songs about anything, and I could compete in this space with my peers around uh, broken relationships and heartache, which is, the majority of music. But if you take my three biggest songs, multiple millions of streams and sales, and that's not what I do, and that's not what's necessary, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so in terms of intention, yeah, there is some intention. Maybe there is some luck. I wasn't expecting for I Need a Dollar to be a hit. Wasn't expecting for Wake Me Up to be a hit. Kind of was expecting for The Man to be a hit, but
We knew that was going to be a hit.
But you know what? You don't have, I mean, you do your craft. I mean, you talk about your 10,000 hours, right? Malcolm Gladwell. So you focus on your craft, you master it. You don't have expectations. You land it in a way that makes sense to you and others. And that's why it becomes a success. So you have a very, I think, just with that, you have a very important point to land to people that connect music with making money, right? How would you, what message would you, what guidance would you actually give them,
oh right, just
if
just
any?
make art. I first of all, I encourage everyone to make any kind of art that they can, and
Mm-hmm,
that they're willing to make. And it doesn't have to be
mm-hmm,
anything that they show to anyone. It's just for your own cathartic purpose of um, exercising your brain and creating new pathways in your brain.
mm,
Second, if you are making art, do not expect money. if you're making art, expect to enhance, embellish, uh, and further culture first. And so if you're making art for yourself, that's one thing. If you're making art for others to consume, don't expect money, expect to share with the the uh, the hope and intention of and the humility of cultural exchange. And then third is, if you are intending to make art for money, look at it this way. If you're an artist, I have a lot of peers who might post online about, uh, you know, ecological health and saving the planet and um, taking big corporations to task for pollution. And I would charge them with looking at their products and whether or not their products may be considered a type of pollution as well, because everything that is available that is consumable um, has an effect on us. And yes, we consume air, so we don't want polluted air. We consume food, we don't want contaminated food, and water, and uh, the land that we live on, and the homes that we're in. We're also consuming sound and vision and visual media. So I would say, if you plan to create art for money, think of yourself as the small business that you are and how you want to contribute to the health of other people's minds and souls.
That was good. That was good. Wow. You got me with that one.
That is so powerfully stated,
Yeah.
actually. I mean, you
Charmaine, you still with us? You still with us, Charmaine?
I am.
Okay.
Can you not see me?
No, you're good. You're good. We just
I am
checking.
actually.
So in honor of my friend Miss Charmaine, who's actually sitting over in South Africa, and it's the 10th year for the passing of, as we all over here call him Nelson Mandela, they call him Tata Mandela over there. I noticed that your daughter's name is Mandela.
Yeah, she was scheduled to be born on his birthday.
Wow.
I had been invited by Indaba, um, Nelson Mandela's grandson, to celebrate his coming birthday just before he passed, but then he fell sick and they canceled the birthday party. Um, when we were considering names, the name that came to me was Mandala. It's a Sanskrit word. And it's a spiritual kind of geometric circle. My wife thought I said Mandela, and I thought, either way, happy to have either. And I think she's growing and living up to the name. She's got this tremendous humility. She's a beautiful spirit. Such a kind heart, and she also favors art and music.
Wow.
I'm trying to share with her a little bit more science as well.
What did you expect anything less? I mean, both parents are artists.
I mean, I should have expected, but yeah, I tell her, our farm is music. When you think about the analogy of the farm, right? All the kids on the farm have to learn how to sow seeds and milk cows, collect eggs. And so our farm is art and entertainment. So before our kids leave our farm, they should know how to write songs, sing songs, play instruments, perform on stage, right? This is what we can give them because we know it, and it's part of our contribution to humanity. This is what our family does. The blacksmith family will teach, working with metals, and the basket weavers family will teach basket weaving.
Well, we're a couple
Which
months
is
late, so happy belated birthday, Mandela. So
Yes.
go ahead, Charmaine.
so is your daughter born on the 18th of July then?
No, she waited 10 days. 29th.
Oh, is it? Okay. So you were born on the 7th of January, 1979. He's going to be 45 next month. So yeah, a month from today, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, weird. Okay, cool. Why am I saying cool? It just helped me here. I've just kind of,
So
I'm so excited to actually have you. I was going to ask you about your song, The Other Side. As you were speaking about biotech, was it influenced by the work by COVID, or what was the catalyst for the creation of that
Other
song?
Side was
Yeah.
written and recorded long before COVID.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was a song that I knew was very special, and I wanted it on my next album. I just didn't know when my next album would be. But Other Side was it was written with a couple of co-writers who were just very thoughtful, and we knew that a song like this could be helpful. We knew that it would be
It
helpful.
was helpful.
it definitely was.
It is helpful, actually.
Yes.
Extremely powerful. You have this ability to write and land your songs in a way that people feel that they're being mentored or being supported. It's such a unique talent that you actually have. I mean, you don't have to have naked ladies and these vulgar language to be able to get people to listen to you. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not disrespecting other artists. But there's something about you that you don't conform. You don't appear to be looking for validation. You live your own lane and you just journey through, and you almost give people permission to just live their unique lives. And that's so powerful and beautiful, and people need to do more of that.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's important for all of us to present our unique selves. This is what is absolutely necessary. It's by design. It's natural design. Diversity is natural design. So when we conform and when we homogenize, it is almost like poison to the system of culture and to humanity. This diversity is what makes us strong. And from a scientific standpoint, absolutely. From a cultural standpoint, absolutely. It just keeps us healthy.
It does. I completely agree with what you actually said, right? It does. We need that. But why is it that humanity, at least, I'm not going to put a number to it, are all followers actually too afraid to actually step into their own, too afraid to be able to just be themselves? It's like, how do we break that? I mean, your song does, your music does. I mean, and you tell beautiful stories through that. But what can we do more of?
It's a balancing act. So I probably should, temper my previous statement of saying, about diversity. There is some necessity to there are some, I think, universal truths, and some of these universal truths that we should all be the same on, are the things like love. Maybe there are many diverse ways to love, but love as a concept, that's not something we want to eliminate from our basket of diversity, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, it does. It's a
freedom,
universal language like music.
right? Freedom, joy, but anger and sadness, all necessary. Um, uh, in terms of when you think about conformity or following, there is safety and survival in that.
Hmm.
It's a function of our instinct for survival. But I think if we can manage social systems that keep people safe and healthy within that framework, diversity of all kinds is welcome.
Yeah, that's good.
Beautifully stated, actually. Thank you.
So, Aloe, when was the last time you picked up your trumpet?
Oh my goodness. I picked it up a month ago and I was woefully dismayed with my embouchure. And it's gonna take a lot of time to get back. I've
You
gotta
gotta
work
train
on
those lips.
I've
Gotta
gotta
train
work
those
on it,
lips.
retrain. Yeah. Is
So
Well, you both
I
have something in common. He plays the trumpet too.
that right?
I play. Well, I play several. Well, I used to play several brass instruments: trombone, trumpet, baritone, sousaphone, the brass instruments. And like you, I tried to pick up. I have a friend whose son just started playing trombone in school and heard that I used to play. He said, "Can you play for me?" So I can still play a little bit.
Yeah.
Can't hit those high notes, but afterwards, my lips bothered me for probably about an hour
Yeah.
after. So
I recorded recently, but it took me so long to record just to get warmed up. I feel like I've done myself a disservice by not maintaining a regular practice.
yeah, yeah, that's good. So I want to go back to the music. Um, Whether the person's dead or alive, who would you love to do a duet with?
Um, so it would be wonderful to do a duet with a Whitney Houston or Natalie Cole, an Aretha Franklin. But in terms of like somebody who I would like to work with, would be great to do music with Quincy Jones.
Mm,
Always
Hmm.
been one of my very, very favorite producer, musician, heroes, um, and you know, just a all around legend.
yeah, that would be amazing. You know who I would love to see you do a duet with? Layla Hathaway.
Oh, that would be awesome too. Layla Hathaway is phenomenal, and I
That would
was
be amazing.
I had an opportunity to watch her perform, and she has this incredible ability to even harmonize with herself. She can do two notes at a time, and it's just ridiculous.
Special. Hello.
Good.
You were first recognized outside of the USA in Germany, right?
For the most part, yes. I Need a Dollar became a hit in France because it was selected by a really cool hip radio station that was a
Hmm.
tastemaker for the pop stations. And once all the pop stations started playing I Need a Dollar in France, German radio stations were interested in um, playing the song on their stations. And then Germany became a really huge market for me. So I spent a lot of time going back and forth from the US to Germany and other parts of Europe.
Hmm.
And then
Do you speak German at all?
I don't speak German. No, I don't. I should,
Okay.
again, another disservice. Of all the years I've been going back and forth to Germany, I should speak at this point.
I'm just asking. As long as you speak music, that's the only thing that matters, actually, because
All
that's
of that.
universal.
It's completely universal.
Hello. Is there any way you'll ever come to South Africa and actually do a concert? You know, I know you played in Australia in November, or you had a concert there. So what's stopping you to coming to South Africa?
Oh wow. I'm sure I'll return to South Africa. I've done uh, several shows over the years.
Oh, did
Urban
you?
Festival, Sakifa, and been to Joburg, and I think I've done something in Cape Town. Um, but I think when I release new music,
Oh,
I'll
when
come
was
back.
this?
Just over the years, over the past, I think 12 years, I've been
Oh.
So, Charmaine, you have to get the Arts Council to do some type of event and have Aloe come.
No,
And once you,
absolutely. I chair Business and Arts South Africa. The board. I used to chair the board of Business and Arts South Africa. So I could actually. I'm very well connected, Aloe. You and I can actually chat and see what we can actually do for you to bring
that's
it
a
out again.
I would love to. I think South Africa is beautiful, and just finding the right timing and venues. But I'm hoping that I'd be able to come and share new music. I'm sure people will want to hear the old songs too.
Oh yeah. I mean, they will want to hear all your music. But you have done new music recently. It's Golden.
Oh
Is
yeah,
that
there's
new?
new singles coming out. Um,
Sure.
uh, Regularly releasing singles and collaborations. I'm
Okay.
working now on an album that will be just a body of work, like as I mentioned, around communicating the work of inspired by nonprofit organizations.
Okay. You said so. Yeah. Um.
what else, Charmaine?
Sorry.
Did I say you had something else?
Now I have a lot actually. I'm just trying to. I'm taken aback that I didn't realize you were in South Africa. I mean, I'm not even going to go there. Missed opportunity, create more opportunities. Okay, we'll chat. Um, would you consider write? I mean, you're very good at writing music, but would you ever consider putting your experiences in a book?
Wow. Um, I haven't had any real thought around putting my experiences in a book. I feel like of all the books that I read, my experiences don't compare. So maybe there's a bit of a bit of fear around having something worthy to say. Maybe I'll live a little bit more life to
Okay.
write a book.
Don't let fear stop you from actually expressing yourself, because I mean, you naturally have the ability to make a difference in the lives of many through your music. And I think for people that enjoy reading, you have a lot to actually say, though. Just capture it and get it out someday.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Um, hello. If you have to give anyone advice, and I know you're a mental health advocate, and people are going through really, really tough times, you'll really help them through your music, and that's a fact. What advice would you land with them?
Oh, this is difficult because it requires a real breakthrough, but find a community to laugh, dance, and sing with. It changes everything. Changes everything. Again, my parents are from Panama, and I wouldn't be qualified to quote mental health statistics from Panama. But growing up, my parents say these the kinds of issues that they see people are facing now did not exist. And it's because as you're walking down the street, there's music blaring through somebody's window or front door. There are kids always playing. There's laughter, there's dancing. Poverty is not um, a sentence for depression. It,
Yeah,
it almost it almost is a license for joy because you're like, what else do we have to lose? Let's just be happy now. And so I, I I say that because I've heard interviews with big corporate leaders and CEOs and founders talking about their success on a fiscal scale and their depression from a social scale. And I think you probably just need to find some people to laugh, sing, and dance with. There is brain and body connection that is being ignored because we have these devices that are spiking um, our oxytocin and our serotonin, and we think that we are connecting, but we're not. The physical world is important, and without engaging the physical world, I think your mental health will suffer. So that's what I would say. Now, that reason why I preface that with it requires a breakthrough is because um, most people, if you are already suffering from, depression or a mental health condition, just getting outside of yourself to go and engage with others is going to be difficult. My goal is to create environments that are no stakes, open-ended, free to engage, environments that are outdoors, sometimes indoors, where people can just enjoy the presence of other people. We shouldn't have to go to the mall to do that. We shouldn't have to do that in the belly of capitalism. We shouldn't have to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars at a concert or a festival to do that, right? We should be able to do it um, in open spaces where we can all just enjoy uh, the presence of one another with no judgment. It appears that exists, right? We have public
It's
parks,
so powerfully stated. Thank you for
right?
that.
We have environments where these things can happen. We just need the influence and the license to feel like it's okay. And so I want to work closely with, municipalities and leadership to create these kinds of moments and environments because if youth and even adults are just stuck in their phones, they're not outside touching skin, hearing voices, pounding earth, right? These lots of things are missing. We are still biological entities, and we need to biologicize. I think it has a huge. I think it would have a huge impact on mental health.
But it's so powerfully stated, though. Dance,
Most
is.
people are afraid. Most people are afraid to
music,
sing.
dance, and laughter. It's things
Most
that I
people are
do
afraid to
daily,
sing. Most
actually.
people are
It just
afraid to
brings you
dance.
immense joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely love it.
And it's like when I I have to say, though, if music is playing, I'll stand up and dance. I don't consume any alcohol. And people would go, but you didn't drink anything. I was like, I don't have to drink to have fun now. And it does do something to your body, actually. It's healing.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Black, thank you so much for affording us some of your time today. It has truly been an honor to just, you know, hear talk to the man behind the music, learn a little bit about your story, but really just find out some of the other things that you're doing outside of music. So we truly appreciate that. With that being said, how do people, that are not familiar with your music, how can they really find you and connect with you and then stay on your list to when you're coming to a city near them?
Oh wow. I think the best thing to do is to go to my website, aloeblac.com, and I spell it with ALOEBLACC. That's where you can connect to all of my social media, find all of the music that I've recorded and made music videos for, um, and then also sign up to be connected.
Yeah. So I appreciate you. Thank you. Value for all of our listeners. We are sitting with the man. He's the man. He's the man. He's the man himself, Mr. Aloe Blacc. So God bless y'all. Take care and have a great day.
Thank you.